today's video, we're going back to basics with boom cards. My students love them. Love them. If they had it their way, I'd be making them all the time. Anyways, what we're going to do is we're actually going to create some boom cards from scratch using the Boom Learning platform. Though you can make them different ways, and I'll show you a couple of features that make them super fast. Let's just get started. If you are new or returning, welcome here. That's our primary. We talk teacher side hustles, and every so often I get someone emailing me saying, "What are boom cards?" And I'm like, "What? You don't know about boom cards?" It's the same reaction when people tell me, "What's TPT?" What's TPT? Boom cards are essentially interactive task cards online, or digital task cards, sometimes we call them. Boom Learning was created by Eric and Mary Omig. I probably butchered that name. They used to work for Microsoft, I believe. If I'm wrong, let me know. They started Boom back in, I think they tried it in 2012. They ran into some problems, and then it really got going in about 2015. And they have had success since then, no problem. I think it was the pandemic that a lot of teachers, including myself, I hadn't even heard of them prior to 2020. But once I started playing with them, I've enjoyed them. They used to be kind of a question kids answer, and it's automatic feedback. Automatic. It's wonderful. And as a teacher, when I give students certain boom cards, and I don't have to give them all the exact same sets, which is really nice too. I can assign these decks to this group of kids and these decks to these group of kids. It's wonderful that way. I can look in the reports and I can see all the questions that they're missing, skipping, and it's very cool. It's very cool, and the kids will often ask, "When are we doing boom cards?" Tuesdays, you know that. Anyways, like I said, we're going to make boom cards from scratch, which means I'm going to be creating them right within the Boom Learning platform. When I started, I often made my boom cards in PowerPoint. Made slides, uploaded the slides, and then just put in the answers and done. But depending on what kind of cards I'm making, I often will just go straight into Boom. And it is unbelievably fast. Sometimes when I get going, I can get them done in less than an hour. Other times, if I haven't, where I hear you, but I can't see you. Other times, depending on what I'm trying to do, it can take me a couple hours. But really, a basic deck, less than an hour. If this is your first time making them, give yourself a couple hours. Oh, and one of the things that I do that makes it faster is I make sure, first of all, I have my Boom checklist, which I have put somewhere. I'll show it to you briefly. But I have a Boom checklist, and when I write everything out and the images I want to use, you can upload your own images, you can upload your own fonts, which is wonderful. So I use a lot of the same fonts that I make for my paper resources. They're already in Boom. I use them 99% of the time. Now, when it comes to selling, Boom Learning has different memberships. There is only one. There's only one that allows you to sell your decks. The other ones you can make them, but there's only one, and it's called the Publisher. So if you do not have Publisher, which currently is $50 a year, which means you need to be breaking, somewhere between $6 and $10, depending on exchange rates and whatever country you're living in. That's how much you're going to need to make in order to break even. At one point I was making over $100, and it was great. And I had barely 50 decks on there. I don't make as much. They had an algorithm change, that this word, but the algorithm changed my income drastically. I went literally from, I think one month I was 130, and I went literally to zero. I've actually had a negative month. I talked about that in another video. So I'm now, like I said, summer was a little bit dry. I'm now back at the $20, $30 a month, hoping it'll go back at least to $100. But right now it's still worth it for me. And as I said, my students love them. They are super easy to use. It's just getting them all on, getting them kids all logged in, and then once you log them in, off they go, and I just circulate around the room and just let them go. And hopefully this coming year I'll also be able to use it as the boom cards as an independent station. That's what I'm really hoping for this year. If I can get enough iPads. I've only got a couple right now. I need a couple more. Okay, so let me turn the camera around. I'll show you the boom checklist that I use. It's available in my TPT store. The link will be down below. And go from there. And this is part of that's the cat's ear. This is Milo traipsing around. This is, I think, the last page in my boom checklist that is available on TPT. I sometimes will use the color, sometimes I'll use the black and white. It's easy to take this document and just either take a screenshot of it or just upload it onto a set of Google Slides if you like to do your work online. But I just write everything out as quick as I can. It's kind of like a brain dump. But the biggest thing is always what I'm using, because if I don't write it down, then I can spend a lot of time hunting it back and finding different features. Will I make this with 26 cards, like do the 26, or will I do 52? Price, I checked on Boom's store to see what other people were pricing a similar deck of this size, what their costs were, and they were between $3 and $4. Learning outcomes, possible keywords, theme. Like I said, keep it easy, and then I'll just hole punch this and put it in a binder that I have. This is the new look of Boom dashboard. You sign in, you have your library. So these are products that my kids have been working on. And then down below is your studio. And in order to get to start a new deck, you just go to Studio. It says Decks. If you want to add images, you can click there. Sounds, fonts, bundles, printables. So I have not used this. I'm hearing mixed because it's very random. Okay, let's go to Decks. You're going to click up here where it says New Deck. If you are new to Boom, after you click New Deck, this screen appears. This top one is called a template card. So anything I type in or add in here will show up in the following cards. So for example, if I just drag an image, it'll show up in my things. Okay, these are what you're going to see in this deck I'm about to do. But let me just do a background. Let's just throw this one in. So see how it drags it in there? And I can make it to the full size. I can do it that way. And then if you notice over on the left here, everything, like I said, everything I do here gets done here. Okay, so you don't have to use the template card, but if your cards are going to be very similar and you're just tweaking little things, I totally use the template card. The other thing I do here is instead of I dragged an image here. Let me just delete this one. I actually will go to background image and pull that up, right? Then it automatically fills. Again, showing up in the, so if I clone it here, oops, I got to click on one of these. See? So whatever I clone, again, shows up. If I do a brand new card, it still shows up because it's, again, I have a template card. But if I get rid of the template card, there we go. See how it disappeared on everything? Yeah, so I don't want to do that. So let's go into, I'm going to get a background image, and I'm going to use a kind of a train station background. When you use an image, whether it's bought or this is a free download from Freepik, you got to quickly go up to your, I do this, either I write it down on my Boom checklist, but I'm going to write it right now because I just happen to copy it. Under acknowledgements, I'll let people know of the fonts and the clip arts that I use, and I'm just going to put in, so that'll be a link to the image, which is attrition, which you need to do. Okay, and then I can just close it up, and I know it's already in there. Okay, so this is my background image, and as you can see in the template, So this is the background image. I can change it at any time. All I have to do is click on background image here and I can change it. I have a little train set, so I'm going to drag an image so I can upload here, and you can upload more than one at a time. Hold the shift key down and just go to where you want to stop, and it drags. Okay, so I'm going to start with the train, and then it's going to be way too big. So I can change its size here. Often I just grab the corner, wait till the arrows, the diagonal arrows appear, and then I just usually drag it. And then just bring it, I'm going to bring it right onto the train station. This is actually, the background is a little bit, maybe it sticks out too much. Okay, if right now I'm thinking that this image is too bright for the lettering, because if I look here, it's almost taking over. So what I'd like to do is actually fade this a bit. So if I go out of here for a minute, everything will stay. Everything is automatically saved. Okay. So if I go out, actually, I'm gonna just type in here letter matching. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go out for a moment, and I'm going to go down. No, sorry, I'm going to go out of. I'm going to go back to Studio, and I'm going to go to Images. So one of the things that I don't do very well is getting everything into my folders. So sometimes it just takes a while. Okay, I'm going to take this image. I'm going to edit it. Okay, so I can edit the image. Okay, and you have to be careful, because if this exists in a deck somewhere and you change it, it will change in those decks. So sometimes it's best to make a copy and then change the copy. All right, and then just have to double check everything. So because I haven't used this before, I'm going to, I can't do it in here either. All right, so I can't lighten it, but I can rotate it, flip it, crop it. Let me play with that and I'll come back to that. Okay, I blurred this a little bit, and it helps this stand out a little bit more, because this is what's more important. So I've added this image. I'm going to add another image, so I'm going to drag this, and I'm going to put the uppercase A. Okay, and again I gotta get it to the right size. And if I'm not sure, right, so this is not the right size. If I go to this one, I can actually duplicate it. So watch what I do. So I go over here, I click duplicate, and then I'll get rid of this one for a second. I take this one, I go down and I click change image, and I go back to this one, and now it changes it. So now it should be the same size. Those wheels right? Actually, looks off a bit. Okay. So you've got your train and then your carriage. So now what I want students to do, so I'm going to ask them to, so I drag the text box down, and I'm going to change the font to one of mine. So it's a little thicker. And I'm going to say drag the correct letter to the train carriage. Oh, I can just say to the train. Kids might not know what carriage is. What I'll eventually do with this is I will add sound here, right? I will make a audio. Oops, I'll just delete that for now. And because this is going to be the main text, I'll only have to do it one time, and then I copy it to all of them. Okay, so we got this. Actually, I should have typed this onto the main one. So let me just go back here. I'm working ahead of myself right now. So I'll put that right about there, and it's now on all of them. Now I gotta go get the other one. Like I said, everything I make in this template card will show up on all of them, but I can change them. You will get occasion, like if I go to this slide here, do you see there's a little lock, right? Because it's from the template. If I want to just change this particular card, I just have to click on that little lock. It opens it up and I can change the wording. Okay, so let's go back to this one. So now what I need is a couple of them to drag and drop down here. So let's get an image. Actually, I want to duplicate, and then I'm going to duplicate again, because this is, to me, the easier thing to do, because now I know everything's the same size. And now I'm clicking on this one, going down to the bottom where it says change image, and I'll put an A there, and I will put a. Now, in order for the students right now to drag these down, so if I go to my preview, I can't move them. I actually have to make these draggable. So let me go back. I'm going to click on the A one. The box comes up. I go over here to where it says draggable, and this little finger shows up. I'm going to do the same to the K. Draggable. Now they're draggable. So again, if I go to preview, but right now it's correct because I haven't said it's not correct. I'm going to make this one. This one's okay. What I want to do is I want to create a little text box right here to fit one of these. So I just got to check the size of this. So I got to make this one a little bit smaller. Okay, I'll put this back. Okay, I got to get rid of the text. So I've got a box here. In this box, I'm going to make a drop zone. So one of these has to be dropped into here to make the question, give an answer for the question. So I'm going to, drop zone is beside the draggable. It's a little flag. I click and see there it is. Now the right answer, I'm going to take that finger, move it down to the flag, and a line is going to show up. That's telling the system that this is the right one. Okay. If I click on the flag, this shows up here. This is the number of this image. Okay, it's pretty big, but that's all I need to do. Okay, now if I go back up to preview and check this, let's click the K. I put the K down. See how there's a little box that shows up? I put the K in there, submit, nope, and here's the whoops. Okay, let's bring the A down. There. Okay, and then I can go on to the next question. Now let me just go on back to, so that's basically how you start. And then one of the things I tend to do to make it easier for future slides is I take this slide. So if you see over on the left where it says 1, instead of adding a new card like this and having to get the train and all that again, I take this same one and I go up here where it says clone it. So I'm going to clone it now. So now I'm on slide 2 or deck card 2. And now I just have to change the letters. So I go here, go down and click change image, and I'm going to go say R. And then I'm going to make this a lowercase r, and this one a, let's do a, are these, it's not in order. Maybe they are in order. Okay. So now that one's already done. So that takes a matter of seconds, and that's why you can create a deck in less than an hour if you know exactly what you want to do. Now let's just say I have 26 slides and I'm ready to go. The last thing before this is officially ready is that you have to fill out the details of your deck. And that's why I like to use the Boom Card checklist, because I will fill all these things out on that checklist. So now all I need to do is just copy everything. So I've got letter matching right now. I might add a couple words there in a moment. If it's 26 letters and they're fairly easy to do, I'll probably put this somewhere around, like say $2.30 or something like that. There's no 15-cent charge like on TPT if it's under $3. Description, students will create trains by matching upper and lower case letters. I have to have my acknowledgements. Fonts is KG Fonts, KG Fonts. And the train font, I wrote it down. Go over to search, and I got to make sure I put in letter matching, and you leave a space. You don't need to put comma. Alphabet, uppercase, lowercase, pre-K1, okay. Subject, English language arts. See, there's a little arrow there. I can reading. Okay, and then within English here, there are a couple options. I did reading, I did language. If there's anything else that this would work with, maybe it's a seasonal product. Right? Play, you can give them a on-screen keyboard. They don't need it for this one. Do you want things shuffled or not shuffled? Right now I've got it at randomized, so it's not going to go A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It's just going to shuffle, and just the cards will be in their whatever order. And not every child who's playing it at the same time will have the same order as well. Okay, and then if I want to list this on TPT, I have to turn this on, and certain links will show up. And then the last thing I do is I need to add a cover. So what I'm going to need to do is, as I go through the preview, I will take some screenshots and then use a couple of them for the cover, and that's all I need to do. If I'm listing this just on Boom, I don't need thumbnails, I don't need, previews or anything like that. I just need a cover, and then I can publish this. Okay, so in the details here, once I have this, I can either private publish it for just my class, or I can publish it to a store. Okay. Like I said, you can get yourself on a reel. I remember one weekend I was just making them. I loved it. And what I really like about Boom is I don't need the thumbnails or the preview videos or anything like that. I just need a cover. One of the things you do need to be careful with is the logo. If you have been selling on Boom for a while, if you've got covers with the old Boom had kind of the flash or lightning or whatever it was behind it, they don't want that anymore. Right now the new one has the B. I'll put a picture here. They would prefer you change those out as well. Boom cards are trademarked, so when you are putting them in your titles on TPT, because you can sell them over there, I do have videos on how to sell them, okay, over onto TPT. Because Boom is trademark, as well as Boom Learning is a service mark, I think it is. And it's actually Boom TM cards. I'll actually, again, put it down here. Again, when you're using the words Boom cards, put a trademark symbol beside Boom trademark cards. All right. Just a couple upcoming things. Teachers Pay Teachers is having their TPT town hall meeting the 13th. I think it's next Wednesday. You might want to register, take a look and see what's happening for them. They have, every so often they have been really quiet. I think Amy and Karen probably took a well-earned holiday. Okay. For them doing the TPT forward, I think that was dropped on them kind of last minute from the rumor I heard. Exhausting to run a conference. Okay, I've only had to run a couple parent conferences, and those were exhausting enough. So I think they're just back now. Hopefully they'll have lots to share at the town hall meeting. Next week's video is all on fall planning. We are getting close. In another week it will be. It will be the next. We got 2 weeks, and it's the first day of fall. So anyways, we're going to talk about fall planning and some possible goals. I actually have been taking some of my summer stuff and just doing them right now. It's working so far. I'm a little bit on the tired side, but it's still happening. My summer schedule. So I'll share that and some suggestions of something that you can do. As well, I think it's the following one after that. I think it's the last one in September. I'm going to show you a couple keyword tool programs that you just might like. Okay, I mean, you want different results for your earnings, you got to do something different, and these are a little bit different. I think they're pretty good. Okay. Anyways, wherever you are in the world, I hope you and your family are staying safe, being healthy, and we'll catch you in that video or the playlist. See ya.